Today on Rappler. Petitioners ask the Supreme Court to stop the MRT fare hike. President Aquino defends Police Chief Purisima. And the Vatican says the Philippines is part of the Church's great frontier.
Hello, I'm Maria Ressa. This is Rappler's Wrap for the Day, a list of the most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. Petitioners on Monday asked the Philippine Supreme Court to block the fare hike of mass transit systems, the MRT, the Metro Rail Transit, and the LRT, the Light Rail Transit, implemented last Sunday. Petitioners want the High Court to immediately issue a temporary restraining order against Transportation Secretary Junabaya for the increase, which they said was, in their words, arbitrary, unjustified, excessive, irregular, and invalid. From a base fare of 11 pesos, the Transportation Department or DOTC resolution raises the maximum single journey fare in LRT1 to 30 pesos and LRT2 to 25 pesos. MRT fares will range from 15 pesos to 28 pesos. Malacanang defends the hike, saying it is the right thing to do. Presidential spokesperson Edwin Lacerda says government subsidies for the MRT and the LRT were decreased to provide more funds for new projects in other provinces. In an interview with comedian Vice Ganda, President Benigno Aquino talked about his longtime friendships with two public officials caught in controversies, Philippine National Police Chief Alan Purisima and Vice President Jejomar Binay. The president portrayed Purisima as a good policeman. Purisima was part of his security detail during the administration of his mother, former President Corazon Aquino. Purisima is under a 6-month preventive suspension as the ombudsman investigates a plunder complaint against him. Also in the interview, Aquino admitted to having a girlfriend until, in his words, several months ago. Britain's Buckingham Palace denies Prince Andrew's links to a sex slavery ring. This comes after a woman accused the prince of having sex with her as an underage sex slave of Wall Street financier Jeffrey Epstein. The woman, identified only as Jane Doe No. 3 in court papers, claims she was Epstein's sex slave from 1999 through 2002. In 2008, Epstein was sentenced to 18 months in prison after pleading guilty to soliciting prostitution. He remains a registered sex offender. Andrew is the second son of Queen Elizabeth II and fifth in line to the British throne. Sad news for BONO fans. The rock band U2 frontman writes on his blog he's worried he may never play the guitar again. BONO went through hours of multiple surgeries in November after a bike accident where he broke his arm and fractured his eye socket and shoulder blade. BONO reveals he blanked out on impact and has no memory of how he ended up in the hospital with the bone on his upper arm sticking through his leather jacket. The Vatican says the Philippines is part of the Church's great frontier. Vatican spokesman Father Federico Lombardi says the Pope's third time in Asia shows it is, quote, one of the great frontiers of the Catholic Church. Pope Francis's trip to the Philippines will be his third time visiting Asia after South Korea in August 2014 and Sri Lanka this January, fulfilling his dream as a young Jesuit to serve as a missionary in Asia. For the full stories, click on the links on your screen, and for those of you watching on mobile, the links can be found on the titles on the article. You can also click on the tabs below to go directly to the story in the video. Every story on Rappler has a mood meter which gives you 8 emotions to choose from. If we look at the mood navigator, which is at the middle of today's front page, the story that's gotten the most number of votes in the last 24 hours is this one. 10 random things we learned from the Pinoy Vice Ganda interview. You have an interesting 65% amused. That blue bringing out the mood of the day. Today, most people are amused. That is the wrap for today, Monday, January 5th, 2015, the first working day of 2015. Visit Rappler.com for the latest news here and around the world. Check out our other shows, Tech Wrap and Talk Thursday. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm Maria Ressa. As we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today.